Hello, welcome to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 3rd May 2024. Today, we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in the Hindu and the Indian Express newspapers that are very relevant for your exam. The first topic is related to the food contamination and related issues. After that, we will be dealing with our second topic, that is goods and services tax. Then we will be moving towards our third topic, which is a very important topic of your social issues, that is menstrual leaves. Then we will be looking into our fourth topic, that is National Payment Corporation of India, or abbreviated as NPCI. Then our next topic will be 7th schedule of Indian Constitution. After that, we will be looking into prelims snippets, which will help you in excelling upcoming prelims exam. So stay tuned. So let's move towards our first topic, that is food contamination. We all have grown up listening to the famous advertisements of MDH Masale, which has been in news due to the announcement of investigation for possible contamination of spices which are sold by Indian brands like MDH, Everest, etc. by various countries. That includes Singapore, Hong Kong, etc. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims Indian economy and syllabus of your GS3 food processing and related industries in India, supply chain management in India. So let's first understand the background of this particular topic. So what happened recently, several countries, as I already have told you, like Singapore, Hong Kong, have announced the investigations on the Indian spices for the possible allegations of contamination of these spices and the presence of the chemical of ethylene oxide. So let's first try to understand what is ethylene oxide. It is a flammable gas which is produced by industry and it is used to make other chemicals, and it is majorly used for sterilizing the medical supply and food products sanitization also. There are various hazardous health effects when we are exposed to this ethylene oxides. It can cause cancers, it can impact our nervous system, it can impact our kidney function, and at times it can lead to kidney failures also. So what does it help in? What does this ethylene oxide help in when we are using it in the spices or food supplies? It helps in increasing the shelf life of spices. It helps in reducing the microbial growth. As I have told you that this ethylene oxide is used to make other chemicals. One such chemical that is made by using this ethylene oxide is ethylene glycol, which was in news when the several children died in Gambia after the consumption of cough syrup that were exported from India. So let's try to understand what is the response from India after these investigations were announced by these countries. First is that Spice Board of India said that it is mandatory for all the shipments to be tested properly which are bound to go to the Singapore and Hong Kong. Second, there has been a circular issued by Spice Board of India for alternative use of ethylene oxide for the chemicals which can be used other than ethylene oxides. Since we are looking after Spice Board of India, let's also understand some basic things about the Spice Board of India which may be helpful for you in upcoming prelims exam. The Spice Board of India is a statutory body, which means it is constituted in 1987 under the Spices Board Act 1986. It is a regulatory and export agency for the spices. The various functions of Spice Board of India is it controls the Indian spice industry, it controls the spice cultivation, it checks the quality of spices, and it grants certificates to the exporters of these spices. Apart from this, the India's response have been that Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, that is abbreviated as FSSAI, has directed for collection of samples of these spices from these companies. Since we are looking after the FSSAI, let's also have some basic idea about this. This is also a statutory body which has been established under FSSAI Act 2006. The headquarter of it is in New Delhi, and main aim of this particular body to ensure proper, safe, sanitized and standard food is supplied to the people of India. So, moving towards, let's see what are the reasons for these food contamination. First, we will look into the pre-harvest factors. First is use of pesticides. India is one of the largest manufacturers of the pesticides in Asia, and this was a report by Center of Science and Environment which came with this report in 2021, which says that 70% of food and vegetable tested found traces and residues of pesticides above and over the permissible limits. Then the use of contaminated irrigation water. According to a report by Central Pollution Control Board, the 70% of rivers in India are contaminated. If you have travelled across the Yamuna river in Delhi, either by road or by railway or by metro, you will see lot of vegetables are being grown on the banks of river Yamuna. What is the source of irrigation for those vegetables? It is the same Yamuna river which is at a very high pollution level. When this water which is being sourced from Yamuna is being used for the irrigation for these vegetables which are grown on the banks of river Yamuna, it is bound for those pollutants to percolate in those vegetables, and ultimately we will consume those vegetables and it will have a hazardous impact on our health. So, use of contaminated irrigation water is also leading towards the contaminated food in our homes, and ultimately it is also being exported to other countries. Now, we will look into the post-harvest factors. First is lack of proper storage facilities. When proper storage facilities, proper cold storage facilities are not available, it leads to post-harvest losses. According to some estimates, almost 30% of India's production is lost due to lack of proper infrastructure facilities. And when there is no proper facilities for cold storage, etc., this provide ideal condition for fungal infection, for mold infections, and that is one of the reasons for leading to the food contamination. Then there is improper processing facilities. This was a survey done by FSSI which says that the 30% of small and marginal enterprises which are majorly functioning under the food processing industries, they lack proper hygiene and sanitation. The hygiene facilities are not very up to the mark in these SME FPIs. So now, other reasons for food contamination. The lack of proper testing labs. At least 10 states do not have a food testing labs. States like Madhya Pradesh, which have large acreage area, large food production, Punjab, which is one of the major food producers, have only one labs. So we can think how it will be feasible for proper testing of these food items when we don't have proper labs. Then lack of proper implementation of regulations are also lacking. Whatever the rules and regulations are either by FSSI or by Spice Board of India or various agencies for exports and imports of India, these regulations are not implemented on the ground properly. We can say there are a lot of corruptions, lot of implementation issues for this. There was a 2021 CAG report which also highlighted this particular issue, where implementation have been very lethargic about all the food related regulations. Then next particular reason is poor logistics. Let's try to understand it in an easier way. This is a farm of Mr. A. Then this is a processing center. Then this will come to the ports, and from here it will be ultimately being exported to different countries. The time duration that these products will take to be exported to these countries from the farms of particular Mr. A, this time duration is very high. When this time duration is very high, it may lead to microbial growth, and one of the reason for that is lack of proper facilities. When there is no proper infrastructure facilities in form of cold storage, etc., microbial growth will increase, and this particular product which is being exported from the farm of Mr. A to these countries will have some content of microbes, etc. So this is also one of the reasons for food contamination. Now let's understand on moving towards some suggestions for improving the condition of food contamination. First is, there is need to promote the sustainable farming practices like organic farming. But we also need to make our farmers aware about these sustainable practices, because ultimately these annadatas who are producing these foods, until and unless they will be aware of these sustainable practices, it will be very difficult for us to keep our food uncontaminated. Then there is need for improving on the infrastructure facilities. Either it is cold storage facilities or logistic facilities or processing centers or testing labs. Everything should be improved. There can be a public-private partnership for improving these infrastructure facilities that will help in speeding this process of infrastructure building. Then there is need for strict enforcement of regulations that are already in place, like regulations of FSSI or Spice Board of India, etc. Apart from this, we can use technology. The digital traceability systems can be used, like use of blockchain technology, so that all the supply chain remain sanitized. Whenever the food item is being contaminated, it can give us a data that where the supply chain is defected, from where the food is being contaminated. It will help us in a longer run to ensure that food remain safe and healthy to consume. Now let's move towards our second topic, that is GST or Goods and Services Tax. The context of this particular topic is the highest GST collection in month of April 2024. In the month of April 2024, almost 2.1 lakh crore GST was collected. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims, Indian economy, and GS2, center and state relations. Apart from this particular topic also relates with GS3, Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources. Moving towards our second topic, that is GST or Goods and Services Tax. Let's first try to understand the background of this. This particular GST bill was introduced in year 2014 as 122nd Constitutional Amendment Bill. This particular bill, when was passed by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it became the 101st Amendment Act 2016. Under GST's current provision, it consists of CGST, that is Central GST, SGST and IGST. Under Central GST, it has subsumed various central taxes like excise duty, which were being imposed for the manufacturing of products, then service tax, etc. The state GST subsumed various state taxes like VAT or value added tax, luxury tax, entertainment tax, etc. Then there is integrated GST to cover interstate trade. Let's try to understand this particular thing. This is a particular produce A which is being produced in UP. If that is also being consumed in UP, the CGST and SGST will be implemented. But if this particular product is being produced in UP and being consumed in Maharashtra, IGST will be applicable. So in case of intrastate supplies, that is within a state, the SGST and CGST will be applied. But in case of interstate trade, the IGST will be applicable. Now, this particular Amendment Act inserted the Article 279A, which provided for a GST Council that is to be set up by the President of India. Under this particular GST Council, there will be a chairman who will be the Finance Minister of India. The members of this particular GST councils will be nominated by the state governments. Then the center will have 1/3 voting power in this GST council and states will have 2/3 voting power. The major decisions about the rate change, policy decision under this GST councils will be taken by the 3/4 majority. So this GST council also help in fostering the cooperative federalism in India. Now let's try to understand various features of the GST. First is, this is applicable on supply side. What does it means? Earlier what was being happening, for example, this is a XYZ limited company which was producing shirts. When this particular company was producing shirts, only after the manufacturing it will have to pay the excise duty and other taxes. But here only when the shirts will be sold to the ultimate consumers or the wholesaler, etc., only then this GST will be applicable. What does it means? That GST will not be applicable only on the manufacturing of goods, but it will be applicable when we will be supplying the goods that are being produced. Only then this GST will be applicable. Then the second feature is that this GST is a destination based tax. Means, for example, this particular condition is there that this product A was being produced in UP, but it is being consumed in Maharashtra. Then the tax will be applicable in Maharashtra only. This is what it means when we are saying that GST is a destination based tax. Then the third feature is the input tax mechanism. Let's try to understand this in a proper way with proper example. Let's suppose this is a shirt manufacturing company which have sourced raw material of 100 rupees from this particular producer. Then this tax A was applicable. Then this manufacturer, after producing those shirts, have sold these shirts to wholesaler. Then this tax 2 was applicable. Then it is being sold to the retailers. So here tax 3 is applicable. After that, the tax 4 is being applicable when it is being sold to the ultimate consumer. Now let's suppose this manufacturer have produced this particular shirt in 400 rupees. Then this wholesaler got this particular shirt in 500 rupees. This retailer got in 700 rupees and this consumer is getting ultimately in 800 rupees. So now what GST is doing? The GST will be applicable only on the value addition that is being done at each stage. Here this particular manufacturer has sourced this raw material at the cost of 100 rupees. What was his value addition? That is 300 rupees. Then this particular, he have sold this to this wholesaler at the cost of 500 rupees. What was the value addition or margin here? 100 rupees, because the 400 rupees cost was for the manufacturer. Then here in the third stage, when the retailer is getting, he is getting at the 700 rupees. Here the 500 rupees was the cost for wholesaler. The margin here is 200 rupees. So this is the value addition that is from wholesaler to the retailer. Then when this retailer is ultimately selling this particular shirt to the consumer, here the value addition or the margin is 100 rupees. So this tax will be applicable to the margin or the value addition that is being done at each stage. This is what does it mean when we say that in GST we follow input tax mechanism. So now let's see what are the various advantages of the GST. The first advantage is it has helped in increasing the revenue of central and state governments both. Here in the month of April 2023, the GST collection was 1.6 lakh crore, whereas in April 24 it has increased to 2.10 lakh crore. So GST has helped in to a large extent in increasing the revenue of the government of India. Apart from this, it has helped in eliminating the cascading effect. What does cascading effect means? Means tax on tax. As we have seen, when we have moved from this raw material producer to ultimate consumer like us, there were various stages. Earlier, what was being happening? Tax was being implemented at each stage without reducing the tax that was already being paid. But with the advent of input tax mechanism, when already paid tax is being deducted from the present value of the tax that is being taken, it helps in reducing the cascading effect or tax on tax issue. Apart from this, it helps in creating a common market. What is happening currently? There are 4-5 rates for the GST, which is applicable in whole of India. So it helped in ensuring that there is a proper constant similar rate for whole of India. Earlier, what was happening? There were different VATs or value addition tax that was being applied by different states. Then there were a lot of different taxes that were being also imposed by different states, which were leading to different cost of similar products in different states. So after coming of GST, it ensured that to a larger extent, the price of a particular product remains same throughout the country. So it ensured that there is a common market in complete India. Apart from this, it also helped in increased ease of doing business, which was also visible from Ease of Doing Business Report 2022, which ranked India 63. Because with coming of GST, the companies have better tax compliance. They doesn't have to fear about the Inspector Raj, tax related issues and other things. So it helps in ensuring that there is increased ease of doing business. Apart from this, it has also helped in reducing corruption and leakages that were earlier due to different tax regimes. Lot of taxes were imposed. So it was very difficult for a particular company to ensure a proper tax compliance. So that leads to various corruption and leakages, loss of revenue to the government, and after the coming of GST, all these issues have been catered. Now let's try to understand what are the issues that are under the current GST regime. The first is the multiple tax regimes. Then the first is 0%, then 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. There are total 5 slabs under the GST, which ultimately leads to lot of confusion. Apart from this, you can see after coming of GST, there has been lot of deliberations going on in the GST councils that have led to lot of changes in the various slabs and the particular products that are under that particular slabs. Under this, you can see the 18% tax have highest number of products. So this multiple tax rates leads to lot of confusion, lots of tax compliance, etc. So there is need for more rationalization of these tax slabs. Apart from this, lack of coverage. The products that are being covered under the GST, some of the major products like petrol, diesel, aviation turbine fuel, electricity, etc. are not being covered under the GST as of now, which is leading to a major chunk of economy is being not covered under the GST. So this is also one of the issue, that lack of proper comprehensive coverage of all the products in the economy. Then delay in disbursement of compensation sets. After 2019-20, the economy has somewhat gone into an economic slowdown, and then COVID-19 pandemic also came, which led to reduced central government revenue. So this led to the delay in giving the GST compensation sets that was promised to give to the states to manage their fund loss due to implementation of GST. Then the last issue that we'll be dealing is technical issues. Here I am talking about the technical glitches. There has been issues in delaying of the refunds being provided to the various businesses. There has been issues that has arisen in the slowdown of the GST portal. So there has been lot of technical issues also that needs to be catered. So what should be the way forward or the suggestions to improve on the GST. The first is rate rationalization. There is need for rationalization of various tax slabs, because by rationalizing these tax slabs, it will be easier for businesses to comply the tax norms. Then there is also one food for thought that GST revenues can be shared with the panchayats and municipalities. Why? Because ultimately they are the institutions which are majorly implementing the major government schemes. For example, PM Awas Yojana. For example, MG Narega. All these schemes are being implemented ultimately by the local bodies. So we can have some mechanism where some of the resources, some of the revenue from the GST can be shared with the local bodies also, that is municipalities and the panchayats. Then there is need for system simplification. We can follow some international practices where a better use of technology can happen, where the server of the GST can be strengthened. All these needs a proper mechanism to follow so that the system of this GST filing become little simple, and it will increase in improving the tax compliance of the people. It will improve in increasing the tax revenue of the central government. Apart from this, there is also need for rationalizing the exemptions that are being provided. Currently, lot of exemptions are being provided by the government, which is leading to loss of tax revenue to the government. So there is need for rationalizing these tax exemptions also, so that a proper revenue can be ensured for both central and state governments. Now we will move towards our third topic, that is menstrual leaves. The context of this particular topic is that recently some political parties had included menstrual leave as a poll promise in their election manifesto. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS1, role of women and women organizations, social empowerment, and syllabus of your GS2, welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population. So first, let's see the background of this particular topic. In the last 4-5 years, there have been several private member bill where they sought that menstrual leaves should be granted as a matter of right. One such bill was also being proposed by the Shashi Tharoor, a famous Congress MP. Then there is also a petition filed with the Supreme Court under which is known as Shailendra Mani Tripathi versus Union of India, where they sought that Supreme Court should provide menstrual leaves as a matter of right, but Supreme Court declined to hear that particular petition because they said that this is a matter of policy and this should be dealt better with the parliament. Apart from this, some historical context that as per the Kerala Sahitya Academy works, the Cochin state, the erstwhile Cochin state, which is at present the Kerala state, it was first to give period leaves in year 1912. Apart from this, in the year 1992, Bihar government provided government employees 2 days menstrual leaves. The Kerala also in January 2023 had provided menstrual leaves for the students above the age of 18. Japan was the first country in the year 1947 itself to give a proper legislation for the menstrual leaves as a matter of rights. Apart from Japan, there are various other countries like Indonesia, South Korea, where menstrual leaves are being provided as a matter of right. Let's also see some background in the context of India. In India, there are almost 355 million menstruating women, which constitute almost 30% of population. Our NGO Dasra, which came with the report spot on in the year 2014, that report says that nearly 23 million girls drop out of the schools annually due to lack of proper menstrual hygiene management practices in the schools. Apart from this particular data is also showing the low awareness on the menstruation that is widespread in India, which says that 70% of menstruating mothers consider menstruation as dirty. The 71% adolescent girls remained unaware of the menstruation till their first period. which shows the lack of proper sex education from the family, from the schools and other. This particular unawareness about menstruation, this has been very high in the Tamil Nadu and after that in Uttar Pradesh and subsequently to the Rajasthan and West Bengal. Now, let's try to understand why there is need for providing menstrual leaves. First is, it will help in improving the health and well-being of the woman. All the women face lot of issues in the form of cramps, pain, etc. during their menstruation. So, it is very difficult for them to concentrate on their works during these periods. Apart from this, there is one issue that is often neglected is the PCOS, the full form of which is polycystic ovary syndrome, where ovaries get caught some cyst and it leads to uneven periods and more pronounced form of pains, cramps, etc. And as per this data of Ojiva, which is a nutrition and wellness brand, it says that 1 out of 5 Indian women suffer from PCOS, and this is more considered as a taboo in our society and very less talked particular topic in our society. So when 1 out of 5 women are suffering from PCOS, it is also leading to more complicated form of periods in the woman. So by providing menstrual leaves, it will help in ensuring a proper health and well-being of women is ensured. Then the second is, it will help in ensuring the proper productivity, proper efficiency of women who are working there, because they will be able to concentrate properly on their work. Then it will also ensure gender equality. This particular period, menstruation, is a biological attribute. Men do not have this particular attribute. So it is unfair to compel a woman to work on his menstruation or the periods and considering both men and women equal during this particular menstruation period. So to ensure a gender equality, it is very necessary to provide menstrual leaves to the woman. Then it will also help in destigmatization of periods, as but in present the period as a subject is considered taboo in the society, but by providing this leaves as a matter of right, it will help in ensuring destigmatization of periods in the society. Then it will also help in attracting talent, as we have earlier seen that there has been lot of dropouts due to the period issues and lot of women also remain outside the purview of employment due to the issues related to the menstruation. But when we will be providing menstruation leaves as a matter of right, it will help in ensuring that we attract lot of potential talents in the employment domain. Now we will be looking into what are the challenges if we provide menstrual leaves as a matter of right. First is the potential of abuse. It is very difficult to ensure that whether a person is speaking honestly or not. So there might be potential for abuse when we will be providing this as a matter of right. Then this will also lead to administrative burden. It will lead to additional cost of companies. They have to maintain a proper HR department where they will have to track all the menstrual leaves that they are giving to their employees. So this will lead to additional cost or additional burden for the employees. And the third issue is openness and privacy. What happens? The issue of period or menstruation is still a stigma or a taboo in our society. Many of females are not very comfortable in talking about this particular topic. So it will lead to women concealing this particular information. They may not convey the proper information to the company or the HR department due to the privacy issue, which is ultimately being done due to the stigma and the social taboo surrounding this particular topic. Then it will also lead to stigma reinforcement. What happens? That there is still lot of social stigma, taboo, stereotyping surrounding the menstruation and period. When we will be giving this as a matter of right, this menstrual leaves as a matter of right, it will give a sense that women needs special treatment during their menstruation and period. So this may lead to stigma reinforcement. then it can also cause exploitation by employers, which can be shown in the form of discrimination during hiring, because they will be knowing that they will have to bear the additional cost due to these menstrual leaves, so they may not be hiring women employees. Then the last challenge is the impact on the small businesses. It will be hampering the growth of small businesses because they have to bear the additional cost. They may find it very difficult to hire the female employees whom they have compulsion to give menstrual leaves. So it may negatively impact the small businesses who are just starting their business. So what should be the way forward or the suggestions? First is, there is need for awareness generation. There is need for destigmatization of this particular topic, that is period and menstruation. There is need for giving proper sex education to females during their schools, in the family, in the society and everywhere. There is need for more deliberation and discussions among all the stakeholders, that is women, government, the NGOs, etc. There is need for open communication between employees and the employers, that these are my issues, my health is not very well, I am not very sound to perform well during my periods. So when this proper communication will be there, it will lead to a proper collaboration between employee and employer, and that will ensure a proper efficient functioning of both the employee and the employer. Then we can follow some best international practices, like the practices that are being followed in the Japan, Indonesia and South Korea. So that can also help in ensuring a proper law is being made in India whenever it is being made. Recent leaves that are being provided by Zomato and Swiggy to its female employees are a step in a right direction, and that can also lead to a better future in the case of menstrual cycles. Now, moving towards our next topic, that is NPCI or National Payment Corporation of India. The context of this particular topic, that NPCI International Payments Limited is going to develop a UPI-like system for the Namibia. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 3, Banking Sector Indigenization of Technology, and UPSC Prelims, Indian Economy, Science and Technology. So what is NPCI? It is an umbrella organization for operations of retail payments in India. It is an initiative of Reserve Bank of India and Indian Banks Association. It is set up under the Payment and Settlements Act 2007 to provide a robust fintech infrastructure. It is incorporated as a not-for-profit company under the provision of Section 25 of Companies Act 1956, which is now Section 8 of Companies Act 2013. There are various services which are being provided by the NPCI. First is BBPS or Bharat Bill Payment System. Then there is NFS, that is National Financial Switch, which the aim of this particular NFS is to link all the ATMs that are in India, to provide a network of connection of all the ATMs that are in India. Then the third is IMPS or Immediate Payment System, which leads to quick transfer of funds from one person to the another person. Then there is RuPay, which provides the credit card and debit card facilities. Then there is UPI or the Unified Payments Interface, which also provides for the quick transfer of the funds, but here your mobile number should be linked to your bank account. Then there is Check Truncation System or the CTS, which leads to faster clearances of check, where instead of physical check being rotated from one place to another, the image of that particular check is majorly rotated between one bank to another bank. Now, let's see two prelims questions that has appeared from this particular topic, that is NPCI. This was a question that was asked in year 2017 and this was asked in 2018. This particular question of 2017, the statement 1 says that National Payment Corporation of India, NPCI, helps in promoting the financial inclusion in the country. This is correct, because all these measures, all these services that are being provided under the by the NPCI, that is leading to financial inclusion in the country. NPCI has launched RuPay, a card payment scheme. This also we have seen that this is also a service being provided by the NPCI. So here the option C, both 1 and 2 was correct. Now next year this particular question was asked, which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? The option C, NPCI or National Payments Corporation of India was correct here. One of the insights for all the prelims appearing candidate I want to give you people is that we keep on emphasizing on analyzing previous year questions. What is the benefit this and the analysis of previous question will serve is the, you can see that in year 2017 question on NPCI was asked. UPSC wants to recruit those people who are diligent, who are disciplined. Are you that kind of aspirant who just saw this particular question that has appeared in 2017, or you are that kind of diligent and disciplined student who not only reading this particular question went to the NPCI website and noted down all the information that was relevant for your exam related to the topic NPCI. If you are that kind of aspirant who has analyzed previous year questions, its options and read that particular topic thoroughly, you will be rewarded next year, because UPSC have a tendency to ask questions related to the topics that they have asked previously. The context of this particular topic is the Supreme Court bench have categorically said that law and order is a state subject during hearing of West Bengal complaint on CBI. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims Indian polity and syllabus of your GS2 functions and responsibilities of union and the states. Now let's see the background. Article 246 of Indian Constitution provide for the 7th schedule, which consists of 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. Under the union list, earlier there were 97 subjects, but now it consists of 100 subjects, where union legislature alone can make laws on these matters. It consists of matters like defense, atomic energy, foreign affairs, war and peace, etc. Then there is state list, which consisted of 66 subjects earlier, but now it consists of 61 subjects only. Here, normally only the state legislature have the power to make laws on these matters. But what happened after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, it transferred or shifted 5 subjects from the state list to the concurrent list, and that has led to reduction of 6 subjects from the state list. The state list has earlier 66 subjects, but now after shifting the 5 subjects from the state list to the concurrent list through the Constitutional Amendment 42nd 1976, the state list consists of 61 subjects only. The 5 subjects that were transferred were education, forest, protection of wildlife, animals and birds, weight and measures, and administration of justice, constitution and organization of all court except the Supreme Court and the High Court. Apart from this, if either of subjects which is not in any of the 3 lists, it will come under the residuary powers. The power to legislate on the residuary powers lies with the Parliament of the India. So let's see some exceptions. That if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution to legislate on any subject under the state list, under Article 249, it can legislate on that particular subject. So, under exceptional circumstances, the Parliament of India or the Centre can legislate on the top subjects that are given in the state list. Then, during a national emergency also, the Parliament of India can legislate on the subjects that are there in the state list. Then, when 2 or more states passes a resolution requesting Parliament to legislate on subjects that are under state list, then under that condition, the Parliament can legislate on that particular subject. But the point that here we have to note is that that particular act or law will apply to only those states which have passed resolution or requested the Parliament to legislate on that particular subject. It will not apply to all the states of India. But subsequently, if other states or some of the states passes a resolution, that particular act or law will also apply in that particular state. It may apply in that particular state also. Then the third is concurrent list, which consists of 52 subjects. Under this concurrent list, the both center and state can legislate, but in case of conflict, the laws that are made by the Parliament of India will prevail, or the laws which are made by the center will prevail over the state law. This concept of concurrent list is borrowed from the Constitution of Australia. So this was all about the 7th schedule. Now we will be moving towards the prelims snippets, which will help you in excelling the upcoming prelims exam. The first topic is Aravalli Range. Aravalli Range is one of the oldest fold mountains in India. It runs approximately 670 kilometers in southwest direction. It starts from New Delhi, then it touches some parts of southern Haryana, then it goes towards Rajasthan, and ultimately it ends in the Gujarat. So there is one union territory and 3 states that from where the Aravalli Ranges passes. The highest peak of this Aravalli Range is Guru Shikhar, which is almost 1722 meters, which is located near the Mount Abu in Rajasthan. Then the rivers that are flowing from the Aravalli is the river Banas and Sahibi, which are tributaries of Yamuna river. Then one another river is Luni river, which flows into the run of Kutch. This particular Aravalli Range is rich in mineral resources like copper, zinc, lead and marbles. There are 2 sections of Aravalli Range. One is Sambar Siroi Range, which is taller and it includes the Guru Shikhar peak. Then the another is the Sambar Khetri Range, which consists of 3 ridges, but it is discontinuous as compared to the Sambar Siroi Range. So now moving towards the next topic is the venture capitalist. These are the people who invest in early stage companies which have a promising future. For example, this is a XYZ startup. Now they want funding. So the funding, which is at a very initial or nascent stage, from the near and dear ones or from the family members of the founders of the startups, that will be called as the angel investor. But when somewhat this particular startup had started generating revenue or the business has started growing, then these venture capitalists come who invest in this particular startups. The risk associated with this investment is very high, but generally these startups have a promising future, and that is what attracts these venture capitalists. So under this investment of venture capital, it provides private equity funding provided and to the startups and companies at the nascent stage. So if we talk about the definition of venture capital, it is a private equity funding that is provided to startup and companies at a nascent stage. For example, this is a startup where 100% ownership was being lying with its founder. But when this venture capitalist will come, it will lead to dilution of the equity that was being held by the founders. So for example, $10 million was being offered by this venture capitalist. It may ask that particular founders of those startups that you give me 10% equity of your company. If you would be seeing the Shark Tank India, you would be knowing that the meaning of this equity, dilution, venture capitalist and all those things. Then these venture capitalists majorly target those particular startups which show significant growth in the futures. Here, as I already told, that investment is highly risky. This was a question that was asked in year 2014. What does venture capital mean? The option B, a long-term startup capital provided to new entrepreneurs, is correct option. So this was all about the venture capitalist. Now the next topic is Mpox or monkeypox, which is a viral zoonotic disease. What does zoonotic disease means? Means this disease can be transferred from animals to humans. These monkeypox have somewhat like similar symptoms like smallpox, which was eradicated in 1980 as said by the WHO. The symptom of this monkeypox include swollen lymph nodes, muscle pains, fever, headache, rash, etc. This particular monkeypox was first discovered in year 1958 following two outbreak of pox-like disease in colonies of monkeys, and that led to name monkeypox. But recent outbreak in Democratic Republic Congo is a new form where the death rate is lower as compared to other outbreaks, but it is majorly being transferred through the transfer of bodily fluids like sex and other things. Now we will be moving towards our last topic, that is NGT or National Green Tribunal. This NGT is a statutory body which has been established under NGT Act 2010. The mandate of this particular NGT is effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to the environmental protection and conservation of forest and other natural resources. The one of the main feature of this particular NGT is they are not bound by the Civil Procedure Code 1908, but they are guided by the principles of natural justice. It is also mandated to dispose cases within 6 months of the filing. It consists of one chairperson, judicial members and some expert members, some scientists who are very well versed in the environmental domain. The tenures of the members are 5 years and they are not eligible for reappointment. The chairperson is appointed by the central government on the consultation of Chief Justice of India. So this was all about the today's analyst. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. All the very best.